You ever watch a neighborhood feud explode into something straight out of a movie? Try this. Our HOA president called the cops on my wife over a $300 parking fine. And when the officer asked for ID, my wife calmly opened her wallet, revealing a detective badge and a concealed carry permit. The officer snapped to attention and saluted her while the so-called HOA queen stood there, slack-jawed. Act 1. The conflict begins. My name's Mark Chambers. Freelance writer, coffee addict, and the kind of guy who thought moving into a quiet suburban neighborhood would finally give me peace. My wife, Chat Lisa, is calm, meticulous, the kind of person neighbors think works a 9-to-5 desk job downtown. They have no idea she's actually a police detective who specializes in financial crimes. We moved into Oakwood Estates, a picture-perfect suburb with manicured lawns and mailbox conformity, but every paradise has a serpent. Ours was Barbara Fletcher, the self-anointed HOA president, 52, rail-thin from stress, bob haircut sharp enough to slice through glass, clipboard practically welded to her hand. She strutted around the neighborhood like a general inspecting troops. The first spark. Parking. One Tuesday morning, I'm sipping coffee at the kitchen window, watching Lisa deliberately park our car just a few inches over the line into the neighbor's space. Which, listen, that's not her. Lisa parallel parks like she's teaching geometry. She once backed into a space with 2 inches on either side. Perfect. So this sloppy parking job. Yeah, my radar went off. Honey, you're parked wrong, I called out. She looked up, flashed this sly smile, not her warm, everyday smile, but something sharper. Trust me on this one, she said. When Lisa says, trust me in that tone, you do it, even if you have no clue what she's up to. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, here comes Barbara, clipboard in hand, marching like she's about to serve a search warrant. She whips out her phone, snaps photos from every angle, pulls out, get this, an actual tape measure from her tote bag. Who the hell carries a measuring tape around the neighborhood? I nearly spit my coffee when I saw her measuring 6 inches of violation, like she was documenting a crime scene. Then she stomped up to our door, rang the bell, and unleashed her monologue. Good morning, I'm Barbara Fletcher, HOA President. Your vehicle is in violation of Section 4(7) of parking regulations. This kind of behavior shows disrespect for community standards. The tone was dripping with condescension, like Lisa was a child caught stealing cookies. Barbara handed over a printed notice letterhead, paragraphs of threats, escalating fines demanding $300 for what she called encroachment. I braced for Lisa to argue, but instead, she just nodded. I understand, she said softly, then closed the door. That was it. Barbara stood there blinking, clipboard hanging by her side, like someone just unplugged her. She expected yelling, maybe begging, definitely fear. Instead, she got nothing. And that's when I realized my wife wasn't just shrugging it off. She was baiting a trap. Act 2. Escalation and the twist. The next few days were weirdly quiet. Too quiet. Lisa seemed to be waiting, checking the mail with a little grin, stretching on the front lawn in athletic gear I'd never seen her wear, almost like she was putting on a show. By Saturday, Barbara made her next move. I found a letter in the mailbox return address, Fletcher Enforcement Services. Pretentious, right? Inside, multiple pages of faux legal language, accusing Lisa of disrespecting hard-working families, demanding compliance. It even referenced Lisa's supposed social media flaunting of wealth. Now, here's the thing: Lisa hates social media, thinks it's where brain cells go to die. Her hobbies, buying books on criminal psychology. So when I showed her the letter, expecting outrage, she laughed. Genuine amusement. Oh, this is perfect, she murmured, and slipped it into a folder marked Evidence. I should have known then this wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. This was professional, but Barbara wasn't working alone. She'd recruited poor old Tom Wilson, our widowed neighbor. Sweet guy, still grieving his late wife. Barbara latched onto his loneliness, fed him coffee and company, and spun a story about Lisa being some wealthy, entitled yoga influencer. She even showed him photos stolen from who knows where of some glamorous yoga instructor, claiming it was my wife. And Tom, he believed her. started giving us cold looks, mumbling about community values. It was heartbreaking. Barbara had turned his grief into a weapon. Soon, the gossip spread. Barbara posted vague community announcements about entitled behavior undermining fairness. Neighbors started whispering. Some avoided Lisa at the mailbox. And me, I cracked. I sat in my office one night, staring at Barbara's letters, watching neighbors treat us like outsiders. And I thought, maybe we should just move. Maybe she's too powerful here. Maybe I've dragged Lisa into something she doesn't deserve. Sure. That's the lowest I've ever felt in this house. But Lisa, she stayed steady. She looked me in the eyes and said, people like Barbara always follow the same playbook. The truth isn't ready yet, but it will be. Trust me. And then she revealed the truth. For 18 months, Lisa had been quietly building a fraud case against Barbara. Turns out, Barbara wasn't just writing fake fines for us, she'd done it to at least 15 families, always $300 a pop. Fake violations, intimidation tactics, choosing victims who were busy, broke, or non-confrontational. Over 3 years, she'd siphoned $25,000 from her neighbors, and Lisa had it all documented. Every letter, every bogus notice, every manipulation. I realized then Barbara thought she was hunting Lisa, but Lisa had been hunting her. Ciao. Act 3. The climax. Monday morning, Barbara went nuclear. I heard her outside, loud enough for the whole block. Yes, officer. I need to report a wealthy resident using privilege to avoid compliance. Multiple neighbors are ready to testify. She was calling the cops on my wife over a parking fine. 20 minutes later, a squad car pulled up. Officer Morgan stepped out, young guy, clearly expecting some petty HOA dispute. Barbara practically ran to him, Tom at her side, clutching a folder. She launched into her rehearsed speech about entitled influencers corrupting community values, handed over photos of that random yoga instructor, pointed at our house like she was presenting evidence in a criminal trial. Tom chimed in, emotional, saying Lisa was standoffish and ignored community standards. My stomach twisted, watching him. He really believed he was doing the right thing. Officer Morgan listened patiently, flipping through Barbara's ridiculous evidence. Then he said calmly, I'll need to speak with both parties. Barbara lit up, whispering to Tom, this is it. They all walked toward our house. I stood behind the window, pulse hammering. Lisa opened the door, completely calm, professional. Ma'am, I'll need identification for my report, the officer said. And then, the moment, Lisa reached for her wallet. No hesitation, no excuses. She opened it wide, revealing her concealed carry permit and her detective badge. Glinting in the sunlight, I saw Morgan's eyes widen. Recognition hit instantly. He straightened, clicked his heels, and saluted. Detective Chambers, he said. The silence that followed, oh, it was delicious. Barbara's jaw dropped. Tom froze. Confusion etched all over his face. Neighbors began peeking out, whispering, You're a cop, Barbara stammered. With a gun. Tom turned to her, voice shaking. You told me she was a yoga teacher. The whole neighborhood was watching as Barbara's empire of lies crumbled in real time. Morgan, still professional, asked Lisa, Detective, how would you like me to document this? Civil dispute, Lisa said smoothly. No formal action needed. Translation. Barbara just wasted police resources harassing a detective, and the officer knew it. Neighbors swarmed, murmuring respect for Lisa, thanking her for her service. Tom apologized tearfully, realizing how deeply he'd been manipulated. Barbara stood alone, clutching her empty folder, eyes darting like a trapped animal. But the real blow came later. Lisa convened a community meeting. She laid out the evidence, 15 families, $25,000 stolen through fake fines, systematic manipulation. Tom testified, voice breaking, about how Barbara exploited his grief. One by one, neighbors shared their stories, phony mailbox violations, flowerbed infractions that didn't exist, threats of liens on their homes. Barbara tried to protest, this is mob justice, but every piece of evidence pinned her down tighter. The final vote was unanimous, restitution or prosecution. She had 30 days to repay every dollar and leave the neighborhood, or face criminal charges for fraud, extortion, and filing false police reports. And just like that, the queen of the HOA was dethroned. Chipis. Final line. And here's what I learned. Never assume the quiet neighbor is powerless. Sometimes they're the one person who can bring your whole empire crashing down. Jiffa.